Chapter 2. The Local Cave. As the morning broke and the night fell to the side, Tristan woke up from a restful night's sleep. He grabbed his armor and belongings and went down the stairs, where he saw Rigard already eating breakfast. Tristan joins Rigard at the table. Mary comes up to Tristan.
"What do you want?"
"I'll have what he is having,"
remarked Tristan. As they sit there eating breakfast, Mary walks up.
"The mayor heard about you guys being attacked last night and he would like to talk to you. He thinks men like you is what he is looking for and hopes you are strong enough to help."
They finish their meals, stand up and head towards the exit of the inn. As they walk out the door, the sun is finally over the crest of the horizon and the air smells fresh. It barely seems as if it even rained the night before. They walk down the well-paved gravel street towards the middle of the town mayor's building. As they arrived a couple minutes later at the mayor's building, they came up to a two-story wood building with a statue of a bear in front. They walked up to the doors, and the doors opened slowly as they approached, revealing a slender, fair-skinned man with fiery red hair cascading over his shoulders. Draped in resplendent robes woven in hues of shimmering gold and silver, he stood between the parted doors, a picture of elegance and poise. And says experience.
"The mayor has been waiting for you. Come this way."
Leading the way with a graceful gesture, he guided them through the doors, exuding an aura of regality and warmth, as if his very presence illuminated the path ahead. When they looked around, they were surprised how well decorated this hall was for such a small town. Elvish paintings and dwarven weapons hung on the wall. A couple sculptures of various animals on pedestals. At the end of the hallway was two heavy-looking doors. As they go close, the young man waved his hand and the doors began to open. Rising from his seat behind the desk, the elder gentleman caught their attention. His shaved head and a neatly trimmed silver goatee framed a weathered yet commanding visage. Though slightly stout, there was an undeniable air of resilience about him, an assurance that hinted at strength honed through. His choice of attire spoke of a refined taste, as a black shirt adorned with intricate gold patterns caught the light, adding a touch of elegance to his appearance. Despite his slight bulk, the garment draped him well, complementing his figure in a way that belied his physical build. As everyone entered the mayor's office, he smiled and stated, closed behind him,
"Silas, you can leave us. It will be okay."
As Silas left the office, the doors,
"I heard about you two being attacked the other night. Have a seat,"
asserted the mayor.
"They call me Wayland. As you can see, I am no longer able to do many things that I used to."
Wayland adjusted himself in a chair that doesn't quite fit him, yet still seems comfortable enough for him, and moved some papers on his desk.
"We have been having an issue with missing townsfolk, and as you see, being such a small town, we cannot afford to lose many others."
After a short pause and a heavy sigh,
"There is a cave system not too far from here I feel is the problem. I asked a young traveler to check the cave system out for a reward, but he never returned. I fear the worst for him."
Wayland's face grew with concern.
"I wouldn't ask for another to share that man's fate, and if I was younger, I would take care of it myself. I have no choice but to ask for the sake of our small town."
Wayland pleads.
"Will you check out the caverns and find out what is causing all the issues with our town?"
Rigard and Tristan look at each other and nod their heads.
"We can check out caves, and hopefully end the plight you are having,"
responded Rigard.
"Let us get some supplies, so we can prepare for our journey."
"I will have one of the local deputies escort you to the cave. Meet them at noon by the inn,"
stated Wayland. As Rigard and Tristan got up, the doors behind them opened and there was Silas.
"I will escort you all out."
Tristan and Rigard followed Silas out of the Wayland's building.
"I will meet you at the inn at noon,"
Rigard said as he walked away from Tristan. Tristan walked towards the local store and began to buy basic supplies for their trip and portable rations. Rigard went towards the blacksmith's and weaponsmith's shop. He walked up to the blacksmith and asked if he had any Kansan swords. The blacksmith smiled and said,
"So you are a swordsman?"
Rigard replied. The blacksmith informed Rigard that,
"Yes, I do have a couple Kansan swords. Would you mind showing me some of your skills with a sword? Maybe I can figure out which one would best fit your style."
Rigard quarter bows to the blacksmith.
"Do you have anything in mind?"
The blacksmith waves. As the blacksmith walked him back to his testing area,
"I am Vornsal, but you can call me Saul."
They arrive in the back where they have various cutting mats, wood blocks, striking dummies, and a number of other weapon testing equipment. Saul sets up various cutting mats and obstacles in between the cutting mats. Rigard closes his eyes for a moment and takes a deep breath in. Rigard sets his feet and draws his Kansan sword lightning fast, cutting the first mat before Saul could even blink and was already swinging at the second cutting mat. While his feet were set, he flipped backwards, twisting in a circular motion. While using the momentum, Rigard cut the last two cutting mats in one continuous motion, spinning the blade around his waist, then neck right, before sheathing his sword and standing back at a quarter bow towards the blacksmith.
I have not seen skill like that in a long time. I have two swords that may interest an artist as yourself.
Saul leads Rigard to a back room full of swords, axes, and various other blades. On the far wall are two Kansan blades, one a shining silver blade made with the elvish metal sagril, while the other is shiny charcoal black made with the dark elf metal Drahil. Rigard's eyes focus on the black blade and slowly reach toward the sword.
That one I call Stormweaver. It's made of Drahil, a rare metal only found in the dreaded wasteland.
A blade this fine I don't feel I can afford,
indicated Rigard.
An artist such as yourself shouldn't be without it. Just give me what you have. I heard you were helping the mayor and the town, so you can call us even.
Rigard thanked the blacksmith and exchanged his sword and all his irons for Stormweaver. Rigard looked at the sun, and it was directly overhead, and he knew it was time to meet Tristan and their guide to travel to the nearby cave. Rigard got to the inn, and Tristan and the guide were waiting for him with the horses. Tristan said,
"Looks like we are ready."
They all got on their horses and traveled for what seemed to be an hour or so through a heavily wooded area. Thick vines drooped from most of the trees. The canopy was overshadowed by sycamore, cottonwood, and oak. Mushrooms and fungus covered the floor, getting crushed under the feet of the horses as they traveled toward the cave. As they rode in silence, they paid attention to their surroundings. As they got closer to the cave, the forest continued to get progressively denser, making it increasingly more difficult for the horses to continue. They seemed to come to a part of the woods that became so dense even the horses couldn't pass. The guide said,
"This is as far as I will go. You can tie up your horses here. The cave entrance is about a 2-minute walk in that direction."
Pointing to the east.
"You couldn't walk us to the entrance?"
asked Tristan. The guide stated,
"It is not worth my life."
The guide turned around, heading back towards the town. Tristan and Rigard hooked up their horses to a tree and began walking towards the east, where within a couple minutes of walking the entrance of the cave was visible just as the guide said. It is a partially visible cave covered by a tree with vegetation. Thick vines covered over half the entrance, making it difficult to see inside. As they entered the cave, the light from the outside disappeared. Tristan pulled out from his backpack a lantern and used a simple ignition spell to light it. The lantern filled the cave with light. The entrance of the cave spread out about 30 foot and went forward to the darkness. Rigard knelt towards the ground and looked at the multiple footprints. Most of these footprints seemed to be shuffling and stumbling, with only one set of prints walking then running towards the darkness. Tristan and Rigard looked at each other.
"Let's follow those,"
stated Tristan as he took a step following the running steps. Rigard unsheathed Stormweaver. The cave begins to narrow to a single hallway forward. As they move through the narrow hallway, a light beacon can be seen on the other side of the hallway. As they entered this odd-shaped and rocky room, at the far end of the room was a light beacon almost the same as a lantern but a bit brighter. By the light on the ground is a body, and standing over the body is 6 humanoid shapes crouched over it, gnawing and ripping pieces from it. They initially seemed to be oblivious to Tristan and Rigard entering their portion of the cave. One of the humanoids glances toward the pair and lets out a loud screeching sound as if his vocal cords were somewhat deteriorated. The 6 humanoid shapes stood up and started to shuffle towards Tristan and Rigard while making blood-curdling screams. Rigard and Tristan, with weapons drawn, head towards the stumbling humanoids. As they got closer, Rigard and Tristan could see they used to be humans dressed as townsfolk from the town you just left. Their faces decomposing, with their lips and eyelids gone and chunks of flesh and bones missing from their arms and legs.
"Damn. Zombies," exclaimed
Tristan.
"Don't let them bite you. They're poisonous, fast-acting, and we are not close enough to healers to deal with this.
The first two zombies lunged toward Rigard with two quick swipes. Rigard removed their heads from their body. Two of the zombies closed in on Tristan. One stumbled and fell to his left, while Tristan put his blade slowly through the face of the standing zombie. The two further zombies stumbled in the direction of Tristan. As Tristan pulled the blade out of the face of one zombie, he stabbed downward into the head of the zombie towards his feet. Rigard quickly moved towards the final two zombies, stabbing Stormweaver in the head of one, quickly slicing to the brain of the last zombie. It didn't take long for the two to finish off the stumbling zombies. Tristan walked up to the body the zombies were feasting on and saw a glowing necklace.
A necklace of light.
As Tristan put the necklace around his neck. As he donned the necklace, the cave lit up, making it easy for him to see there was an exit to his left and straight ahead. The tunnel ahead gave a light glow while the room to the left was dark.
Let's make sure these two rooms are clear before we go ahead,
stated Rigard. Tristan looked at his feet and picked up the head of one of the decapitated zombies and held the head near its ears. As Tristan saw, the mouth of the zombie was still trying to bite him. He stared at the zombie head for a moment. Tristan stated,
"A nasty beast these things are. These villagers didn't ask for this curse. Best to put them out of their misery."
Tristan tossed the head to the ground and stabbed the brain of the skull to ensure it was dead. He went around and ensured the rest of the zombies were fully dead. After clearing the room, they looked towards the dark room. Tristan and Rigard walked towards the dark room, with Tristan leading the way with his newly acquired light pendant. As they stepped into the room, two towering creatures emerged, their four-legged forms a blend of brown fur and muscle. Each possessed a large head, complete with a 6-inch snout sporting formidable 2-inch teeth. The creature's long, slender ears perked up, swiveling toward the adventurers as the pendant's light caught their eyes, revealing a glint of curiosity in the gaze of these bunny bears. Both bunny bears let out a loud roar as they began to charge towards the light. Tristan lunged towards the first bunny bear, slicing at the neck of the bear with the blade cutting deep into the neck of the bunny bear. Rigard slid to the side and with one quick thrust shoved his sword through the eye of the bear, hitting the brain and paralyzing the second bunny bear. Tristan took a second swing towards the neck of the bunny bear, removing the head of the bunny bear he was fighting.
This seems almost too easy. I wonder if I can get this hide back to the village to make anything from it.
Tristan makes a valiant attempt to skin one of the bears and just ends up with chunks of fur in his hand. Shaking his head, knowing this was not going to work. "We need to probably get going,"
droned Rigard as he got a confused look on his face.
They walked towards the room that had the strange glow. As they entered the room, it seemed as if they were walking into a large room that had the walls are lined with pulsating organic matter, resembling the inside of a living organism. Bioluminescent veins of light could illuminate the cavern, creating an otherworldly glow. The air might be thick with a mixture of strange odors, a blend of decay, a pungent smell, and dampness. The ground is covered in a layer of sticky, nutrient-rich organic material, sustaining the hive's inhabitants. On the floor was a wide variety of plants, some that moved on their own, and some that looked as if they had teeth. They stood trees with sharp spiked branches that seemed to slowly be moving, and in the middle of the room was a lake of dark blue-looking liquid. Rigard and Tristan approached the edge of the liquid to see it is just water that is colored by the surrounding vegetation. Tristan notices a small movement in the water and jumps back, causing Rigard to do the same. As they stepped away from the lake, a colossal, alien serpent shot from the water. Its massive, cylindrical body, roughly the size of a cow, rippled with segmented sections that shifted in mesmerizing patterns. The creature's hide, a mottled blend of earthy tones, provided effective camouflage in the cave's unique environment. Numerous sensory appendages, resembling both tendrils and antennae, protruded from its head, constantly exploring its surroundings with a blend of curiosity and menace. As it moved, the ground seemed to tremble beneath its sheer mass, leaving a sense of awe and trepidation in its wake. Worm stretched wide, revealing a terrifying expanse that seemed almost disproportionate to its already massive body. Inside, a nightmarish panorama unfolded, with rows upon rows of teeth extending into the abyss of its cavernous throat. The teeth, sharp and numerous, formed a grotesque symphony of serrated edges, creating an unnerving sight that seemed to defy any sense of closure. The never-ending expanse of dental weaponry hinted at the creature's insatiable appetite and the formidable danger it posed to anything unfortunate enough to cross its path. Knowing there is no running away from this furry worm, the two warriors stood their ground, dodging to the side the beast's initial charge. Tristan concentrates on an ignite fire spell, casting it while touching the fur of the beast. The fur ignited and spread quickly over the body of the worm. Rigard swung his sword, cutting and stabbing the body of the beast with little effect. The burning beast reared up and swung its body towards Rigard and missed, creating a loud thud sound on the ground. While the beast burned, Tristan and Rigard frantically hit the beast with their swords, dodging the flailing body of the fiery worm. The worm reared up one more time, swinging its body towards Rigard one more time, connecting with full force, crushing him against the ground and its body. Rigard let out a loud sound as his air left his body and his sword impaled deeply in the charred body of the worm that now stopped moving. Tristan prized the large beast of a stunned Rigard, looking at a bruised and bleeding man. Rigard slowly stands up, grabbing Stormweaver from the worm's body and doing one last thrust near what seemed like the head of the beast. Tristan asks,
"Are you going to be all right?"
"I will be fine. I just need you to help me with some of my wounds. I will tell you what to do."
Rigard responded. Rigard talked Tristan through some basic first aid as he couldn't do himself.
"Think we should go back?"
Tristan questioned.
"We already came this far. I think the worst is behind us now,"
Rigard said as he glared at the now charred worm, as he cleaned his face off with the water from the pool. Upon stepping into the newfound chamber within the cavern, the duo encountered a sizable hole that descended into an unseen part of the subterranean expanse. Intrigued, they circled the edge, contemplating the mysteries that lay beneath. Pressing onward, they traversed the cave until they reached a spacious room adorned with two radiant crystals at the back. One emitted a luminous white glow, while its counterpart bathed the surroundings in an enigmatic black luminescence. Intrigued by the contrasting hues, Tristan approached the white crystal, while Rigard gravitated toward the black one. Rigard, with a quizzical tilt of his head, extended his hand toward the black crystal. Meanwhile, Tristan, methodically exploring the white crystal, gently made contact with it using his index finger. An ethereal exchange ensued. A white light traced its way up Tristan's arm, its glow gradually enveloping his entire being. Simultaneously, Rigard experienced a reciprocal phenomenon, his body becoming cloaked in a mysterious black radiance. As both crystals commenced crumbling, their once vibrant glows coalesced around Tristan and Rigard. The luminescence faded as swiftly as it had appeared, leaving behind a profound transformation. Miraculously, the wounds acquired throughout the day vanished, as if erased from existence. In the wake of this extraordinary event, the chamber stood silent, the remnants of the disintegrated crystals scattered around them. Tristan and Rigard, now renewed and unburdened by the day's strife, exchanged a bewildered yet rejuvenated glance. The mysterious energies of the crystals had bestowed upon them a miraculous renewal, leaving the cavern chamber forever altered by their encounter. Tristan started to feel a connection to magic, as if he was standing in a mana lay point. To his left he felt the void of magic, and there he saw Rigard standing there. Rigard exclaimed,
"That was anticlimactic. Didn't seem to do much, and now there is no crystal. Guess we can head back and let the village know we took care of their problem."
As Rigard walked away and was a decameter away from Tristan, it was as if he was suddenly rushed with mana.
"Those crystals did something,"
thought Tristan. The two warriors left the cave, and outside their horses were still there waiting where they left them. The sun just went down, and visibility was extremely low as there was a new moon out.
"We can use the cave to spend the night and leave in the morning, since we know the cave is pretty much cleared."
Tristan gathers some wood and starts a fire quickly with a create fire spell. Rigard sets a couple traps and within an hour comes back with a couple small rabbits. After skinning and preparing, they finished the night with a good meal. The night went uneventful and the two woke well rested. Rigard packs up the camp, while Tristan prepares the horses for their travel back to the village. As they entered the village, they went straight towards the chieftain's house. Again, as they walked up to the door, it swung open with Silas standing at the entrance.
Come in.
The two walked down a familiar hallway led by Silas towards Wayland's office. As they enter the office, Wayland stands up and greets them both with a friendly handshake.
So did you find anything?
Rigard and Tristan tell them about the zombies, finding the adventurer, and the massive furry worm with teeth and small arms by its top skull. They reassure him that the cave was cleared out. Tristan lets them know there is another level under the cave, but can't see anything making up the hole if there is anything there. The chieftain gave the 2,000 irons apiece and thanked them for making their little town a bit safer. Knowing there isn't much left for them to do in this town, the two new friends decided to prepare to head to Kalen and get some supplies and check out the local guilds to see if they can get some more stable income.
We can leave out in the morning. One more night here before we travel.
Tristan spent the night in his room contemplating the busy last 3 days, and how crazy it was he met someone that was being hunted by the Order of the Blood also. The crystals and what they have done to them. The white crystals seemed to have made him a mana waypoints, while the black crystals seemed to make Rigard a mana vortex. Rigard spent the night talking to Mary about the day and the adventures they had, then went up to his room to prepare for the next day. The morning rose and the two packed up their horses and headed towards Kalen.